What's up, guys? I'm Carmine. I am a film composer. I'm a commercial composer, music producer, songwriter, basically anything that you can do in music to, continue my career going. And I wanted to make this video and start this channel documenting my film scoring journey. So, without further ado, let's go. So I can't say that film composing, film scoring was my dream of all dreams in the very beginning. My whole career started and my dreams started in a different place. I played in a band. That was really my primary focus. And I still do things like that today. I still produce music, release songs, write music with other people and for myself. Film scoring really popped up somewhere between the beginning of college when I started looking into what some other career paths were, and into my early 20s. Why I got really interested in it was I've always been passionate about films and movies and good television as well. And I love storytelling and I love that medium of storytelling. So I really wanted to find a way that I could contribute to that way of storytelling without fully diving into trying to be a director or working in film crews, because music was still taking up most of my time and was still my passion. So the obvious choice for me was to work with something like audio, and because I love writing songs and writing music so much, first and foremost, that became my fixation. I became really obsessed with the idea of scoring films, and I just sort of set my focus on it when I was out of college and just started experimenting with writing more ambient kind of music that I thought sounded like what a film score was supposed to sound like before I had any experience. From there, I got my first opportunity scoring films in a really interesting way. I basically heard through my girlfriend that one of her best friends in LA, who's a producer and works in television in LA and does great work, was making his first short film. And I just got obsessed with the idea of trying to write the music for it. And I barely had a relationship with the guy at the time. My relationship with her was still new. So I heard about this and I just made a silent plan in my head that I was going to try to pitch music to him and convince him to let me score the film. And that's what I did. I went really hard after that. I started writing a little mini library of music. I had him send me the script and I wrote stuff inspired by the script, and I started sending it to him and we'd go back and forth a little bit, and I could tell that he was interested, but music wasn't really the main thing on his mind at the time. I think there was more important steps in making the film, and so I just did my best to sort of shoehorn my way in there. And I had heard of these kind of strategies before of writing things based off the script and trying to get in early before they have a composer, and that's what I did. And my first time going for it, it worked. And I got extremely lucky. And not only that, the film was really great. And it was a really great script. It was shot really beautifully. The actors were great. I got really, really lucky on my first one. And I naturally was high as can be. And I was like, this is my career. This is what I'm going to do. Been waiting for something to feel like it worked out for me in music. And this worked out. The sky's the limit. From there, the reality set in of, okay, I'm not getting any work. And I basically had one portfolio piece at the time. I really didn't have any other work samples. Any other work samples that I made were just me making stuff myself, which is fine. It's good, but it's just not good enough to land certain jobs and certain work. So my reel wasn't great. My portfolio just wasn't there. And I didn't have much experience. So naturally, what I did was tried to focus on getting better and working on my skills while also doing your normal kind of cold outreach. The problem was I didn't really have stuff to work to, and it was very hard. I would occasionally get some people who would send me some video stuff and some content stuff to work to for free, and that was great. I did a whole bunch of that for a while, but it wasn't at the frequency that I wanted it to be, and it wasn't at the quality that I wanted it to be. And it sort of led me to this understanding that like your path is going to zigzag and meander a little bit, and it's not going to be a straight line to your destination in most cases, even if you start off with a really lucky, great first job. So on that path, meandering and zigzagging, making content of my own for the sake of being able to score it was like sort of my first or my second step, I guess. And that became a whole nother passion to dive into, learning how to use the camera properly, learning how to try to put stories together visually in that kind of way, especially just as a one-man team trying to make stuff, working around New York and just capturing a lot of ambient footage sort of became my focus for, I don't know, maybe the next 3 or 4 years, honestly. And like I said, your path sort of goes in and out. That led to me making content for other people and myself, of course, and opened up this whole other door to, you know, a new way to make money and a new way to tell stories. But also at the end of the day, it was just another way for me to be able to have video and like some visual media to score. From there, I got into studio work and making content for different businesses and companies, and all keeping me on the same path of making music to earn a living. And the film scoring stuff like just wasn't happening quite as much. And of course you need money and you need to keep going. So you're focusing on what is bringing in the money at the time. So weirdly, I met people who were very into commercial composing and writing for commercials. And I accidentally stumbled upon that path. And once again, just another area where I went a different direction that was adjacent to what I was set out to do, but wasn't exactly that thing. And so for the last 3-4 years, probably a little bit longer, the last like 5 years, I've been heavy into commercial composing. And that's been a really interesting journey because once again, it's great. I get to work to visual media. I get to earn a living in that space and work with great brands and companies, and I love doing that, and the collaboration's always great. But it's not at the root of the storytelling and the emotional storytelling that, you know, I set out to do with film scoring in the first place. So every step of the way, you can have these sort of paths and these off ramps that you can take, and you don't have to get off the journey fully. But don't worry, it all can be helpful and informative to your path and what you actually want to do if you let it. And it can also distract you and take you off that path if you let it too. And that's up to you to make sure that you're getting what you need out of those things. And so I'm at a point right now where I've put a lot of stock and a lot of time into the commercial composing space, but I know that I want it to be at least 50-50 in the short-term future of the film scoring stuff to the other sort of work for hire commercial stuff. So you know, where I'm at right now is doing something like this, like trying to document the process and talk about it more and be helpful to others, but also show my work, so to speak. I think it's time for that because I need to live it every day and I need to really be in it. It leads to the same place at the end of the day. I think that you want to just make sure you're not giving up. Make sure you're paying the bills and you're getting by as an artist. Like that's the number one thing. And make sure that you're not compromising too much of your time that you have to take away from what actually matters the most, which in this case is writing music and continuing to explore writing music. Like that has to be the main thesis. I had a really great composer that I sat down with a couple weeks ago tell me that. They basically said, hey, you have time right now. And you can't focus on making more money than you need. You just have to make the money you need. And then all that extra time that you have right now, you have to appreciate that. And you have to put that toward exploring new music, making new music, and releasing that. Because one day you're not going to have that time. And one day you're going to have to go and get that extra money, more than what you need right now. And when that's the case, you're not going to be able to explore these new palettes. You're not going to be able to make these new things. And weirdly, I didn't expect that advice from him when we were talking. It kind of caught me off guard. And I really took it to heart because I've met a lot of composers, a lot of people in film, a lot of directors who will just sort of tell me to keep doing the same things and keep reaching out, keep cold calling, keep cold emailing, all these things that I do, and I think as a business owner are really important. But this guy was like, forget all that. Like, just keep getting better and find out what your voice is. And eventually, if you keep working at it and you do keep doing the other things enough, you'll have enough of a workload and enough of a portfolio to show, and that will get you your work. And I believe that. And I've done a little bit of that in my career so far, but it's like I got a reminder from the universe to double down in that, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I just finished my first little mini scoring project that's just, all of my own, not to a project, that I'm going to release within the next few days, and I'm going to be doing one of those a month. And I'm going to be picking a different style and just releasing that as I go. I want to document that process on here. The other thing he told me was like making sure that you release it and make it public facing and you have that out there for people to see is very important. Mentally, for me, I think that makes a lot of sense because it's the art of getting something done and finishing something. But I also think it's like catalog is so important these days, and being able to see a portfolio that you actually believe in enough to slap your name on, and it's not just on some private link or something that you'll show someone when you need a job that pertains to it. I think that's really important, and that speaks volumes to the work you're doing. So I plan on doing that every month this year. That's a big goal for me. I want to make it public and put it out there because I want to hold myself to it. So the first one's coming out in the next couple days as soon as I get it uploaded online, and I'll be dropping everything on here as well. So what does making it as a film composer mean? I see a lot of videos with this title. I see a lot of people talking about this topic, and of course it means something different for everybody. It doesn't really mean anything specific to me. Maybe this is ego, maybe this is hubris, I don't know, but working on a larger budget production on a streaming network is important to me. That's something that's like a near future goal that I'm pursuing and trying to figure out how to get there, and I don't feel far off from it. But talking about it and putting it out there into the universe is also, like, it's tough to do because you don't want to look like you're not quite doing enough, but at the same time you don't want to sound like delusional and like, I'll never be able to do that. So maybe for some people that's not important, and working on independent projects that pay the bills can, keep them afloat. And that's great. I do that constantly, and I'm always searching for that kind of thing. But that to me would feel, at least right now, as though I'm making it and I'm doing it. To see that in a larger distribution, a bigger budget, bigger actors, larger production, the whole thing would really mean a lot to me. So I set out on a goal a couple years ago to get about 20 to 30 like really good quality short films under my belt, and I'm a little bit past, maybe I'm about halfway in that process right now. And the goal was to be sharp enough, connected enough, and prepared when that process was done with a great portfolio to show for it, to take that next step to something larger. And, the time's coming. We're getting close, and I think this process will be documented like on this channel, and I think that'll be really fun to showcase as that happens. So thanks for watching. If you like content like this about film composing, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas of videos you want me to make. I just kind of want to be engaged and talking about this topic, and I'll do discussion videos like this, and then I'm going to do a bunch of stuff where I'm also showing what I'm working on and showing different music and stuff as well. So appreciate you watching. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.